The following is a Castwave Studios production.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Impromptu Who. I'm Colin.
I'm Brian.
And good lord, where the fuck do I begin?
So, ladies, gentlemen, and anybody in between or neither, please welcome to this episode where we talk about Ambassadors of Death, which is the third serial in the Third Doctor's storyline, timeline. God, this was fucking awful.
I remember how much we were complaining in the previous episode of just like how long that serial dragged?
Yes.
This one is 100 times worse.
Yeah, but we'll talk to you about why this is so bad.
Oh, we gonna get to that.
But first, if you have like a brief recap of this, which
sure.
I don't know if it's going to be brief enough because there's so much happening and yet so little at the same time. But please, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I mean, just so much with this episode is just like boring, and that's again like the greatest sin Doctor Who episode can commit.
Yes.
Is that you've literally bored me.
Yes.
You have all of time and space and science fiction and... Okay.
I don't think that I'm the first person to say that about Doctor Who. I
not.
definitely think I'm the first one to say it on this podcast, though.
Oh, you definitely are. So, here we go. Sweet Jesus. This is Series 7, Episode 12 through 18. Sweet Christ. Called The Ambassadors of Death. And first, can we just say the intro in this entire serial series is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's off-putting because you get the intro with John Pertwee with his, like, I just farted in an elevator and I'm not telling anybody face. And then they don't show what the title of the episode is.
That's right.
They just kind of give some credits, and then they cut in, and then something will happen, or the recap will happen, and then they cut into the Ambassadors of Death part.
Oh,
whatever.
no, it's the Ambassadors, and then a half-second pause, and then of Death.
And it's like,
did you not think we wouldn't have got it before? Like, there's no need for this interlude.
This sounds like somebody in editing was having a lot of fun and was like, hey, I got a really cool idea. Can I try this? And it's like, sure, why not? And like, if it works, cool. If it doesn't, okay, cut that shit out for the next one. And yeah, I don't think it worked.
Nope. So, contact with Mars Probe 7 has been lost. When contact with the rescue ship is also lost, unit is called, and the Doctor discovers that the astronauts are in fact Martians. And they are sending messages to the ship. So,
were they Martians? Or were they...
We'll get to that. So many things wrong.
Yes.
All right, so... So we start with Unit trying to fix yet another problem with England's industries. Last episode, it was atomic power. This time, it's the space program.
Last time, the problem was coming from underneath the Earth's crust, and this time it's coming from extraterrestrial.
About 10 miles up.
Yes.
Yeah, so Unit's attempting to make contact with the missing Mars Probe 7 and its two astronauts, who they lost contact with 8 months earlier. And anybody who has even a passing interest in space technology, you would be able to very quickly peg that would not be possible. They would be dead.
Yes.
Because those kind of capsules only really had like enough space for their weight ratios to have life support for maybe about, I'd say, 5 to 7 days.
Now let me ask you a question real fast.
Sure.
Not to get off the tracks immediately, but I feel like this is going to be more interesting than the actual episode was. Now when this probe went out with humans, which by the way, there was a probe with humans going to Mars in the 60s.
Yeah, no.
What they were trying to pass off.
Whoever this writer is has no concept of space, of like space programs. Because first of all, a probe is unmanned. That's literally
Yes.
the point of a probe.
Yeah.
Is you send it out, it takes back readings, and then you send people in a space capsule, not in a probe.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's the thing. If we're gonna nitpick like that, we're gonna be here for days,
Yeah.
and we don't have that kind of time. So when the recovery crew that returns to Earth, it is captured by General Charles Carrington, who has captured the missing astronauts. And of course, you now ask the question: why would you capture your own personnel? Well, I mean, just so many things. So, God, this episode. I mean, the problem is that, so the probe slash, we're just gonna call it a capsule because we're gonna use the correct nomenclature for this fucking thing. So, the two capsules go up, connect. There's a loss of signal, so we have no concept of what's going on. Are they alive? Are they dead? Who knows? And this entire I would say these first 2 episodes are just basically spent trying to decode this signal that's been beamed back by the capsule. And they're trying to understand what's going on. It's like, what is this? We don't know. And it is... And again, it's the same old thing. Unit and the Doctor show up, and obviously no one is in any particular mood to make things easier. They're just... like, we don't feel like accommodating you. We're trying to do our jobs. It's like, well, you're obviously not, because you have missing personnel, and this is our purview. So, I mean, yeah.
Well, I think the thing I was gonna ask too though about this, and like I know that we're moving past this already, but like, is it established that there would have been any kind of like colonization on Mars at this point? Like obviously in show, would there have been anything like on Mars where like they're probing, right?
No, because here's the thing, and here's the nuts thing, right?
That's so stupid.
Well, yeah, because the problem is, first, they only got to the moon like 6 months before this episode aired.
They were looking forward, is what they were trying.
Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, we've made such great leaps and bounds that England, a country that to this point hadn't had any form of space exploration, was not only to get their project up and off the ground, but also to the moon, and now they're looking at going to Mars? Question mark?
At this point, even the United States wasn't looking at Mars like that. I mean,
that might have been like a 10 to 15 year goal.
But it wasn't going to happen like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we were still like, I think after that, we were still doing missions to the moon.
No, we would still be doing missions to the moon until I want to say...
70s? The 80s?
Well, this was 1970. This episode was shot in 1970.
Ah, okay.
The NASA ran moon missions until 72, I want to say. But, so, they're trying to decode this signal, and obviously no one wants to assist the Doctor, even though, they work for a military organization that has the purview to, like, it's supposed to be like, yes, this is what you're supposed to help us. So help us. And then, so like the Doctor apparently needs computer access. And again, we're talking like the old 70s type of computers. And it's, I mean, again, you walk in and it's like tape banks. As far as the eye can see, it's just nothing but that. And, oh boy, it's
yeah.
So then like they get access to this computer, and then the one Doctor who's had like maybe 2 lines of dialogue up to this point pulls a gun on him, and the first episode ends there.
Yeah, the French guy.
Yeah, what was it? Al Italian or something like that.
I have his name in here. It's a spoiler, but so I'm not gonna mention. Something Cabal, suits with radiation. Where is he? Da 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 da. Where are you? Tartalian, I think.
Tartalian, awful name by the way.
Tartalian. It's like that sounds like I don't know, some kind of weird food from the 70s or something.
Yep. So Tartalian pulls a gun on them and then attempts to take Liz, but then throws her back into the room. Oh, I'm sorry. No, first the Brigadier comes in and is like, oh, what's going on here? And he's just like, freeze. Okay, yeah, this is a point I want to make right now. Is it just me, or is Unit absolutely useless in this fucking episode?
Oh, they're absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, they are worthless. And what makes it worse too is that you see, and like that's the funny thing too is like I don't even know. Oh god.
Oh god.
Oh no, I'm unlobbed. Sorry.
Oh, the sound quality.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh please, please.
Oh no.
Please cut this out. So this, I called them this weird cabal or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck to call them because I don't even think they name themselves.
Nope.
The weird milk truck transforming company or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, there's a lot of like infighting and like betrayal happening there, and they're trying to. I think that their whole thing is like they want to control these things so that they can like raid Fort Knox, which I'm like, how the hell are you even going to get that across to the United States?
Yeah, because apparently, so we're gonna
but there's all this stuff happening where this cabal is like doing all this shady shit, and they're constantly like changing the goal line, or they're constantly like moving around and doing all these really shady things, and meanwhile Udin's just walking around with their thumbs up their asses, kind of going like, oh well, let's check this radiation over here. Yes, doctor, have you seen any of this kind of any kind of clue as to? No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Brigadier, don't have anything. Oh well, maybe we should keep looking. Yes, I think that would be a great idea. It's like and they do that for like 7 episodes. It feels like.
Yeah, no, it's
like
it is
somebody do something.
It's irritating because again, there's markedly more action in this episode, but it's all the more infuriating because they are so ineffective. Like, it's so what is it? So like they bring the capsule down. They bring the astronaut's capsule back, the rescue capsule back down, right? Mm-hmm. They bring it back down, and they can't get it open. It's like, oh, it's locked from the inside, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, well, how do we open it? It's like, well, we can cut into it. I'm like, no, that'll hurt the astronauts. It's like, well, let's take it back to the Space Center or whatever.
Yeah, they take them back to the Space Center, and then there's something about, like... I forget if it's the thing that's invading or the computer or there's something with sabotage. Honestly, it's so hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Something sabotage.
Something complete.
But the doctor is trying to figure out exactly what the nature of all this stuff is. And so, like, before we cut to episode 3... he's asking the computer this stuff. He's saying, what is the capital of Australia, and how many beans make 5?
Yep.
That's a question to ask a supercomputer. How many beans make 5?
Yeah. Well, at this mind you, at this point,
what the fuck?
Well, at this point, they think they're talking to. They think they're talking to.
Oh,
the
they're talking to the. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So, but I'm not wrong for being confused by that, right?
No.
Because, like, what was he talking to the person on board, or was he talking to the computer? Like, oh my god.
So
okay,
all right. So yeah. So they. Land...
I'm trying not to get flustered on this.
No. I got you. So they land the rescue capsule. They try to get into it. Can't get into it. As they're loading it onto this flatbed truck, the doctor's trying to get Bessie to work because apparently something's broken down. So the Brigadier's like, all right, well, me and my men are gonna start on the road back, and you do you. They start driving, and within minutes, out of nowhere, this 60s era helicopter, like something out of a fucking Roger Moore James Bond flick, just pops out of nowhere and just starts lobbing smoke grenades at them, lands, and then like 3 guys get out carrying what I can only describe as oversized hair dryers attached to backpacks. And so Unit, of course, seeing this aggression, if you want to call it that, just gets out of their vehicles and just starts fucking firing off rounds at them left and right? There's like, I want to say like what, 10 unit soldiers, right? Including the brigadier himself, right? Not one of these trained soldiers can hit one goddamn person. None of them. But yet these guys can just run, like literally run up on them, point their little hairdryer guns at them, and oh god, I've fallen over. And it's also, it's not, there's no lights coming off of it, so it's like you have no indication that this thing has done anything.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, I fell over. Oh, I followed over again.
Oh, I dare say, Jeeves, I seem to have fallen and I can't get up. Please press my life alert button, so I might require assistance from hospital.
Yeah, no, it's just, again, and that's the thing, like,
You know.
I saw that, and you were like, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Unit is so useless in this episode. You were like, oh, it gets worse.
Was I wrong?
No, you weren't wrong. Eventually, the shadowy cabal captures the space capsule, starts to take it away, and somehow the doctor who had moved around, like who had just gotten the car started and is on his way, catches them. So he basically leaves like Bessie in the middle of the road and like tricks the guys who hijacked it into like trying to fix his car, and then he activates some anti-theft device that keeps their hands affixed to the vehicle.
Yeah, somehow, some way, he has managed to make a magnet that attracts meat to metal.
Something like that.
Which is, wow.
Interesting. So he re-hijacks the space capsule, brings it back to the center.
I wonder if Batman ever had something like that, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. It would have definitely helped.
An anti-Batmobile theft thing where, like, your hands stick to it or something.
I mean, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, so it's... Alright, so next is...
That was my ADHD thought of the day.
Alright.
Alright.
So next
Brought to you by caffeine. Alright, sorry, go on.
No, it's alright. So then they ask the questions, and they're like, what is the capital of Australia? How many beans make 5?
Right? And like, it's just as silly when you say it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so... end of the third episode is just like them asking these questions, and then the doctor looks panicked. He's like, open it.
Yeah.
So
they open it.
Episode 4, they open it, and guess what? No one's fucking in there. And they're like, how can no one be in there? You all were here. Like, all of our security people were here. I didn't order any. And then someone just offhandedly mentions, oh, no, there was a security check. They made us leave the room so they could check everything. And they were just like, and none of you seemed to think that was a problem? None of you?
Yeah.
And it is, and that's the thing. Like, part of me is like, oh, it's got to be like some, how can nobody catch this incompetence? Because, again, anybody would have been asking the questions like, okay, so we know there's sabotage going on here. So what? So then they gotta go to the space program's big boss. What is it? We've got Sir James Quinlan, the Minister for Technology, and Charles Carrington, who we mentioned earlier. Charles Carrington is the now head of the newly formed Space Security Department. And apparently Carrington explains that, we captured the astronauts because they have, quote, contagious radiation. I was like, that's not a thing.
That's what radiation is.
I mean,
I was talking with you about this earlier because I was like, in theory, the idea of like radiation that's as contagious as like the flu or something, that would be an interesting thought. But then I was like, wait a minute, no, that's
exactly.
how radiation works.
No, exactly. If you're irradiated and someone comes near you, you can technically irradiate them.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not like, ooh, I sneezed on you and now you're irradiated. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's not how any of this works.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I want to point out that they get these 3 figures who are in the astronaut suits, and they're like, they've got so much radiation. They've got 2 million Rontgen of radiation. I'm like, what? I was like, did anybody take even a rudimentary science class whoever was writing this episode.
Yeah.
Because 2 million Rontgen. For clarity, Chernobyl at its worst was cranking out 20,000 Rontgen an hour.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that those three beings are emitting 2 million Rontgen. So basically...
Nobody would be able to exist in that, like, entire country.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It would irradiate the entirety of Great Britain plus the ocean.
Yeah.
That's how lethal that would be.
Yes.
You know, it's like you had... Just to compare... just in case anybody forgot, or if you haven't seen that HBO show, just because I like context in my shows.
Sure.
The lethality and intensity of the radiation at Chernobyl was such that when they were trying to take a photograph of the elephant's foot, when it had just happened, like, you know, it had been like a span of like not even a week, and they were trying to get a photo of the elephant's foot, which was like the mass core or whatever. They had to use a fucking mirror, because if they put the camera actually within like scope of the radiation, it destroyed the interior of the fucking camera. You saw the people in the show who, like, that you thought they were getting fine, but then like their literal internal organs were fucking melting.
Yeah.
And that was how many again? 20,000?
It was 20,000 Rontgen, but that was like per hour.
Okay, we're talking about 2 million.
Yep.
2 million. I feel like if something has 2 million like that, game over, man.
Yeah.
Fucking game over.
Yeah, no, it's... any person who came into contact with those beings would be dead.
Instant death.
Well, I
that was the thing.
wouldn't say instant death, but like within hours.
That was the thing. They said, like, with the elephant's foot, like, if you spent like any more than like 10 seconds near it, you instantly died or something.
Yeah, okay.
It was that bad. So, like, okay, these people are in another room with like a glass window separating them.
Yeah, no, you would have needed to be a county over to even remotely have a chance to not be fucked.
And this is why it's called science fiction.
Pretty much. I mean, it is. So, but yeah, so Carrington claims it's like, oh, well, we've isolated them because, you know, they've got contagious radiation, and we don't want a foreign power to like get a hold of these things and use them as weapons. Of course, we don't want that. And the doctor's like, yeah, no, those aren't your astronauts. Those guys are like fucking something else. They're aliens, probably. And they're like, no, they're not aliens. He's like, no human being would be able to survive that amount of radiation. They would die. They would literally be puddles of human goo. Ugh. So then we hear all of this, and then out of nowhere, you know, people are realizing, oh, there's sabotage going on within this complex. So then somebody actually goes in, like somebody calls and is like, hey, I need you to, like, the brigadier needs you to come here to like look at these bodies of these random people we found, because, oh, look at that. Okay, I got ahead of myself. So Carrington tells them that they have these 3 astronauts and they have them in a secure location. And so the doctor's like, I want to see these guys. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So they take them there. And as they take them there, we find out that, oh, this shadowy cabal is now taking them out of there to ferry them off to another location. And the 2 people that were put to watch these 3 creatures were then killed and just thrown into a gravel pit. Mm-hmm. And then covered with gravel. Okay.
What was the point of this?
Because later we find out that Carrington, who is the leader of the shadowy cabal, essentially, he's just like, oh, it's foreigners. Foreigners are cavorting with these aliens, and they're going to...
Who even were these guys that died and were put in
some randos.
But, well, okay.
Just cause. They needed bodies to throw. Remember how we were talking about how it's just like, this seems like a bunch of unnecessary shit?
Yes.
It's because these people are making these convoluted plot points. They're just like, ooh, leave the bodies. They'll go look for these then. And that will buy us time to go do what we need to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're annoyed by that, but to be fair, it did serve a purpose. It did distract them.
I mean, sure.
So
you're not wrong there.
Yeah. So then the Space Center is called, and they're like, "Ooh, we need the doctor and his assistant to come down and look at these dead bodies." And Liz is like, "Okay, so are we gonna go?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna work on this capsule so we can send it back up to get the actual astronauts home." So Liz goes in Bessie, and then she gets driven off the road. Then she gets out and runs to this dam/weir, and it's like literally the Wish.com version of the fucking fugitive.
Yeah.
Because episode 4 ends with her hanging off of this thing above this weir, and you're just like, why?
I'm innocent. I swear I didn't do it.
I didn't kill my wife.
I don't care.
I mean, that literally is how that fucking episode ends. So they capture Liz.
My glasses.
Yeah. So they capture Liz and they take her to this. They take her to this unit where the three aliens are, and then you find out that these aliens require radiation to live.
They feed off of it.
They feed off radiation.
Oh my.
Yep. And so that in of itself is just like, all right, well, that's problematic, but anyway.
Honestly, no, because if you think about, that's an interesting quandary because it poses a lot of problems, but it also poses an interesting theory. Because think about it. Think about this. If you had an outside alien species that could like
thrive on radiation,
eat radiation, and find a way to contain it, then
all good in theory.
That would honestly possibly help out with, if there was ever like a nuclear, emergency or something.
That would be great until the radiation ran out, and then they'd have to leave to find more radiation.
I think there would always be radiation, though.
Depends, because that's the thing. It's never explained how they metabolize this radiation.
Can they thrive off of solar radiation?
It's never specified. That's the problem.
Well, then, see, that's a theory.
That's a theory. Okay. So Liz is captured. She's taken to this location with these other three, and then they decide that they're going to launch this capsule that the aliens came down in to go back up to the Mars Probe 7 to actually get the astronauts, who they assume are still up there. But apparently this army general is like, well, I don't want you to do that. And they're like, why not? And they're like, well, we should be blowing up this Mars probe. It's like, it's our probe. Why would we blow it? What is wrong with you? And it's just like, no one just ever stops and is just like, you know what? I think you're the problem. Hey guys, this guy's an asshole. That's the problem. And there's no one, I mean, that's the thing. Like, they all suspect. They just don't outright come out and say, like, no, you're definitely the villain here. Like, you're actively trying to keep us from doing this thing.
Yes. And
it's just...
How many times can we be told, sorry, there's a delay on something? Because, like, I can't imagine sitting there watching this week to week and just getting frustrated with, like, oh my god, how many more delays is this person gonna, like, give the doctor?
Yep.
Before the doctor realizes, hey, wait a minute.
I mean, that's the thing. He realizes it sooner rather than later, but he never outright states it. Like, in an episode, he's just like, nope. He just, like, sits there and is like, I'm just going to play my cards close to the chest. Yep. I know what's going on, but I'm not going to say. It's like, yeah, look how well that worked out in the last episode, dingus.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor's like, hey, you know what? I could survive those pretty heavy G-forces if you got to use the more experimental fuel to get this rocket up, so why don't you send me up there?
Yeah.
So, they do.
Can I say something real fast, too, about the suits with radiation?
Yeah, sure.
That are being moved around?
Yeah,
By the way, they're being...
The aliens.
The aliens, right? They're being...
Because I don't remember them ever actually specifying, like, the name of the species, or they're just calling them the ambassadors.
I think so,
Ugh.
right? And, you find out later on, but that's a spoiler.
Yep.
But, the suits with radiation, like the aliens, you think that they're like... I don't know. It felt like they were implying that they were empty suits walking around or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you later find out, no, they're actually aliens. But before you saw Under the Mask, I honestly was getting a really big Vashta Narada vibe from them.
Because they are essentially wearing black masks under the helmets.
Yeah, and so like
So you don't see their faces.
anybody who hasn't watched that two-parter Silence of the Library with David Tennant, you know, kind of similar, but not really. Like they look similar enough.
It's got similar vibes. I'll give you that.
So I don't know, but anyways.
So the doctor basically. The doctor gets in this rocket, and again, sabotage. They try to fuck it up.
Yeah.
But ends up not working. He gets into orbit after some chicanery. And then he gets to Mars Probe 7, but then aliens take him.
The doctor got abducted by aliens?
Apparently.
Apparently alien on alien abduction is rampant.
Irony. So aboard the ship, the alien beings explain that the humans are being held pending the safe return of their ambassadors.
Now, were they watching a game or playing a game? I couldn't tell.
I don't know. I just want this to be over. So they've been sent to Earth to make peaceful contact with mankind. Yeah, because all of that radioactive touching was peaceful.
Well, now, to be fair, they did not know that their touch was going to be lethal to humans. And it's explained later on that...
I know. I'm just...
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I know. So the doctor's like...
It's an honest mistake.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's true.
And something I like about this is that, like, both sides acknowledge that there's kind of a communication breakdown happening.
Communication breakdown. Alright, so the doctor is like, alright, well, I'll get your guys back. You just gotta leave it to me. So the doctor comes back down to Earth and is immediately kidnapped by the shadowy cabal.
Yep.
And they reunite him with Liz, and then we find out that the mastermind behind this whole situation was General Carrington, like we fucking thought 3 episodes ago.
Yep.
Fuck! The General lured these three aliens to Earth to expose them on television and intends to call upon the nations of the world to attack them. It's basically Ozymandias in fucking...
Watchmen.
In Watchmen. He's basically like, I'm going to present a far bigger threat to humanity than anything we've got here on Earth, so that way we'll fucking channel all of our rage and frustration out on these motherfuckers.
And we won't blow ourselves up.
And we won't blow ourselves to kingdom come. As I'm sure this general was like, yeah, it'll totally happen.
That was the octopus. I forget what that was called.
Yeah, the squid octopus. I mean, they never gave it a name.
I think it was like codename squid or something. But
something like that.
It was, yeah.
So
It's
apparently,
been a long time since I've read Watchmen.
So apparently the use of these ambassadors to kill was simply done to arouse public opinion against them. Okay, sure. So the doctor manages to send a radio message. The brigadier in the unit arrives to rescue him, although what fucking good are they in this situation when they've been so useless for the rest of this entire time?
Yeah.
They go back to the space center where the brigadier arrests Carrington, and then the doctor arranges for Dr. Cornish and Liz to return the ambassadors to their own people so that our human astronauts can be released.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, you see the end of that, and like the doctor's kind of like walks off set. And I was watching this thinking, oh God, there's not going to be another episode, is there? Because like it felt like
flat.
Yeah, it felt like, oh, it's done, but like there was still a lot that was unresolved. I mean, like the
par for the course, really.
Yeah, fair enough. The ambassadors still needed to get home. We still needed to get our dudes home.
Oh yeah, no, but they're just saying, oh, it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's
good.
So I noticed a few things here. First and foremost, one of the astronauts that's like captured bears a striking resemblance to Tucker Carlson.
Oh, if only aliens would abduct him.
Now, why would an alien abduct a human? Is that practical? Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
Yeah. Does that make any kind of sense to you? Anyways, why can't we call the aliens evil? They're coming down here. They're invading our spaces. Anyways, God.
They're stealing all of our... They're stealing our God-given radiation.
And our jobs.
And our jobs.
I, for one, will not steal.
And our vital bodily fluids.
Yeah. So one of the things that gets noticed one of the things that gets said multiple times with John Carrington once he's been outed as the bad guy is that he has a moral duty to do all this crap. Shut up.
I have a moral duty to humanity.
And it's a big duty, too. John Carrington's moral duty is to kill the doctor. Here's a nice top 10 list. Anyways, fucking... Yeah, I guess the 3 aliens were, in fact, ambassadors of peace that met the humans on the surface of Mars, and they did not know that their touch was radioactive and lethal to humans, and then this led to blah, blah, blah. What? I don't even know. The narrative is fucking inconsistent, and I'm just... God.
He had like 3 pages of notes. He just ripped them to shreds.
I'm so just...
He's so done.
Oh, God. Please write a better serial for next time.
Okay, well... so Brian,
Yes.
scores from A to F. So
Okay.
let's go down the line.
All
Plot.
right. Oh God. D minus.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Silurians, but still pretty bad.
Yeah.
Actually, although I think we gave Silurians a D in plot as well.
If anybody at any given fucking point in this, before things got to the point where everybody was on high alert in episode 1, if anybody had just been like, oh shit, my bad, this wouldn't have happened. And this was also a communication breakdown, literally, okay, cool. But like, it was literally like, we can't communicate. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, hold on. And then like someone decided to weaponize that. And is that not just capitalism in a nutshell?
I mean, I don't think they're being quite so eloquent with their metaphors, Brian. I think it's just...
I'm reading too much into it.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like, these people are pure radiation. Let's weaponize these motherfuckers.
You might... God damn it.
God damn, dude.
I'm sorry. Well, you might see this as a couple of radiated aliens, but I'll tell you what I see when I look at them with my danged old eyes. I see money. Tons of money.
All right, so the plot is a D.
Yes.
Characters.
The bald, mousy, wimpy, foppish...
Lennox.
Thank you. He is so annoying.
Yeah. Just like, oh no, I couldn't possibly, I have nowhere to go, so I'm going to work with this shadowy organization to cause the absolute downfall of my peoples.
Can you please take this stick and bend me over and shove it up my ass so I might know what it's like to feel to have a spine? I would love that sometime, please.
Jesus Christ.
It's the only way I'll know.
It's not inaccurate.
That's kind of what his
I mean, that's the thing, you've got him, you've got Carrington, who's just a fucking...
I have a moral duty to kill the doctor.
I have a moral duty to kill my own countrymen.
I have a moral duty to take this duty.
Yeah, so, yeah, no. Honestly, I don't think characters, there's nothing special going on there.
No.
So, I think I'd also give it a D.
Yeah.
It's not an F, but it's not great.
Yeah, I'll give it I'll give it like a C minus.
No, you know what? No, I say stick with D.
Okay.
Because there'll be bits that'll go up in a second.
Yes.
Special effects, definitely a step up from Doctor Who and the Silurians.
Yeah.
It is... I mean, you got models for the space.
I did like that.
Yes, like that's the thing. Give me more space.
Did you feel, because like when I look at stuff like that, obviously I'm always going to equate that to like tokusatsu or like an Ultraman type or
Sure.
like, you know, like a vintage Kamen Rider or even like really early Super Sentai, maybe maybe Denjamin, kind of sort of the same kind of practical effects. You've watched Denjamin with me.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, Shiba Inu. We got to talk about that sometime too. But anyways, different show. We'll talk about that later.
Different show. We'll get to that.
But with this special effect, like just like the space effects and like the docking port,
The
and all
models,
that stuff,
it's...
Did you feel like this felt like maybe conceptually a little bit like Red Dwarf, like in its early years?
You know what? I was going to say something more along the lines of, I know they had series that were sort of set in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is a very, very early progenitor of the kind of work they did, the model work they did on Red Dwarf, sure. I will say a lot of the scientific inaccuracies turned me off, but again, that's not really under special effects. So I honestly, I'd grade this way higher. I'd grade this like a B. The model work was solid.
Yeah. For this early, because this was what, 1970?
Yeah, literally 1970.
And they've been doing this for a while now. I'll go ahead and give them, because I love good practical effects like this, and it really looked believable enough for me, especially for a 1970s show. I'll give it an A.
See, I'm only giving it a B because, like, for instance, you know the giant orange blotch that appeared on the screen
fair enough.
when they did their the ambassadors did their radioactive touch.
Yeah.
I was just like, come on, man. You gotta make it more interesting.
Fine, I will give it a B plus then.
There you go. All right, so
Fine.
we'll give it a B plus
Because I'm always going to be a sucker for practical effects.
Sure. No, I
And
agree.
I thought
That's
they
why
did a damn good job. So.
I agree. That's why I graded it higher.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. Settings. I mean, Earth and space. That's what you got.
Earth, space, another freaking bunker with a screen on it. Like, did they just redress the stage from the
Probably.
Silurians?
Probably.
You know, I
They just shot it from a different angle.
Yeah. I would love to see what their take on, like, what a Zordon, head tube would look like.
I don't think I would.
I think that'd be really...
Would look good.
No. I'm not saying it would look good.
Oh.
I need to know what that would look like.
I need to know.
Yeah.
All right. So settings, middle of the road. I give it a C.
Yeah, I'll give it a C too.
Yeah, because the bits in space were interesting, but there wasn't that much of that.
Yeah, but let's not forget most interesting setting, bridge.
Oh, where we saw the wish the wish version of the fugitive.
Yeah, bridge. Yes.
Bridge. That works. All right. Was the Doctor effective in this episode? No. Okay, I'm sorry. Nowhere to the level he was effective in Doctor Who and the Silurians. Because that's the thing. He wasn't. You have to admit that.
He got the message back to Earth.
Eventually.
Sure.
5 episodes later.
Sure. Well, no, but 5 episodes in, he goes up and figures out what was going on.
Yeah.
And this is after he has to, crowbar his way into a fucking spaceship and, go up there and fight all these, because again, keep in mind, this cabal is doing all this really shady, shadowy shit that nobody's able to, keep track of. Uh-huh. And the Doctor, despite all that, is managing to get on board a spaceship that's all the way the fuck out there. And then gets the message back, but then he's captured immediately. And so what he does is he's building that transponder or whatever so he can actually communicate better instead of getting, one-way radio back. And he sneakily sends out a broadcast, which is an SOS to everybody, letting them know, hey, shit's going wrong over here. Mm-hmm. So sure, he's not effective, but he's at least letting people know what's going on.
Sure, no, that's what also to point out, the only reason he got on that spaceship was not through his own work. It was through the other, the guy who was running the space center. It was Dr. Cornish. It was Dr. Cornish, because when General Carrington said, you're not sending that rocket up, blah, 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 and Dr. Cornish was like, okay, well, if you don't let me send it up, I'm going to go to the media and I'm going to tell them that you're actively preventing us from getting our astronauts back, and that's going to fucking end your career, my dude. Mm-hmm. So do whatever you want, but I'm doing this, so fuck off. So I would honestly say that Dr. Cornish was far more effective than the Doctor in this episode.
Fair enough.
And again, that's just an opinion. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't do anything. He obviously revamped the signal, got back, and actually negotiated to get the ambassadors back up to their people and got our people back. So, but for instance, I'm pretty sure in Doctor Who and the Silurians, I gave him an A. Mm-hmm. I think in this one, I'd give him either a C+.
Yeah.
C+, maybe a B-, somewhere in there.
I'm going to give him...
Nowhere near as effective, but still did something.
I'm going to just go on par with you, because, honestly, I don't... My thing with this is, I could fight a little bit on this, but honestly, I don't feel like... I feel like I've already presented enough of an argument, and, like, it's still not enough to, like, assuage. So, yeah, and also, like, C, like, lower B, that works for me. I don't need this to be an A, because I don't think this is the Doctor at his A game.
No,
literally.
No.
It's not. So...
No, it's not.
Like, and you know what? Can I ask a question before we get to the other things real fast?
Sure.
Off the top of your head, real fast, and maybe you don't have to answer this right now if you don't know, but what are the 3 times, in your opinion, the Doctor was on his A game?
Oh, that's so tough, because you're asking me to go through 60 years worth of material in just a few
So,
seconds.
okay, you don't have to answer that right now then.
Okay.
But 3 times the Doctor was on his A game.
Ooh, that's a good question. This definitely isn't one of them.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not now. Okay, well, you know what? We'll think about that for a later episode. Okay. So gadgets. Okay, so we had the communicators.
Which are way less annoying than they were last episode.
Yes. Yeah, and again, this was like, ooh, this will give them certain commands that they will do. Like, they're not robots, they're people, but this is just a small amount of communication we can actually do to them. Like, walk forward, stop, murder.
Why are they even able to do that in the first place?
Who knows? They didn't explain it.
I see, like, this is must... Okay, pause. This is what it must feel like to have, like, not dyslexia, the dementia. This is what it must feel like.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting there going, oh, well, you know, they're able to be controlled and can do whatever. Well, did they ever explain that? I'm sure that there's a good explanation. No, they never explained that, but I was watching. I could have sworn. Oh, no, there's no reason why that this is happening.
Yep. Pretty much.
This is what it feels like to have your brain deteriorate at a rapid rate.
Yep. So.
Oh, shit.
So you got the communicators. You've got those weird hair dryer guns.
Yeah.
Which those apparently can incapacitate a fully grown person. So okay, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I hope Unit got some of those and decided to like reverse engineer them.
Yes, lovely. Add those to the arsenal and reverse engineer those so we can make them en masse.
Yeah.
Like that's how that's what the Brigadier would do.
That's right. Let's see what else. I don't think we can really count the radioactive isotopes they were using to keep the ambassadors fueled. I mean, because that's technically a naturally occurring element. Well, not naturally occurring, but...
No, but we have been able to split the atom and weaponize that before.
Yeah, but that's not what they're doing. In this case, it's technically just fuel for these creatures.
Fair enough.
Like, it's basically giving them a bowl of
It was
weenies.
weaponized for Dr. Weenie Butt.
There you go. Dr. Weenie Butt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He got a healthy serving of isotrope.
I mean, that, what else? The spaceship. It's really about it. I don't really think there was anything else that was, like...
Can I say...
overly impressive, now that I think about it.
Can I say that, like, it's really nice in Doctor Who, after 10 plus episodes, to actually see the interior of the fucking TARDIS?
Except you didn't see the interior of the TARDIS. The TARDIS console was brought out of the TARDIS somehow.
Hold on. I think I know the answer to this. Did they ever explain that?
No.
God damn it! Fuck! Okay.
Because also, like, they do that little... Okay, so, what was it?
That was
So-
another thing that they didn't fucking, like, they brought in, like, this interesting thing, and it doesn't come into play. It doesn't come into play at all during
Whether
the serial.
the Doctor could use the TARDIS console.
To, like, move something, like, 10 seconds ahead in time.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that's really interesting. I bet that comes in handy. They never fucking use that.
Well, no, he then, like, is able to, like, make this tape reel disappear when Dr. What's-his-face?
Yeah. Dr. Scratch and Sniff? I don't know.
The doctor with the weird name.
Yeah.
He, like, has got him at gunpoint. He's like, give me that tape reel. And he's like, all right, well, beep.
Oh, the French dude.
Yeah, and then he just like somehow.
There's another. There's a fucking gadget for you right there. The fucking briefcase thing.
Oh yeah, the briefcase bomb that kills.
Oh my god! Okay, can we talk about that for a second?
I did forget about that.
Can we talk about the briefcase bomb for a second?
We can.
Colin, if you would please hand me that. I believe, if that's okay, Sean, if I can hold this for a second. Thank you.
Brian's got a case here.
He's got this briefcase, and it's got like this separated handle thing, right? It's like cut down the middle. It's kind of a seam, and it's explained that the second that he does that, and I swear to God, I just expected someone to say, well, you see, 007, once you do this, then you have 10 minutes to escape the premises before it goes kablooey. I was expecting something like that.
Yep.
And he's justifiably kind of like, I don't know about this. Okay, he's himself kind of he's seen this dude kind of be shady about shit, so he's rightfully fearing for his life.
Yeah, Regan, he's the mercenary who's been like working with Carrington.
And this guy's name is let me look through my torn up notes here. Tartalian. There we are.
Tartalian.
Yes,
Dr.
fucking Tartalian has this briefcase, and he goes in to talk to the doctor.
Well, so Regan gives him this briefcase bomb, and like in front of him, he opens it, shows him the inside, sets it to 15 minutes, and then closes it. He's like, okay, when you push these two latches together, that sets the bomb. That triggers the bomb. Okay,
right.
And then you've got 15 minutes to get your ass somewhere else. Right, so then
it was either 15 or 10, but that's not important.
So then Tartalian looks gets his coat on, and as like some other henchman's helping him with his coat, then Regan just as he's not looking, just like, I'm just gonna turn this back to 0, and he's just like, haha, Heil Hitler.
Fuck.
He literally just turns it to 0. So as soon as Tartalian just hits these latches, it's just gonna blow him up.
And like the shriek he makes is the funniest. It's the funniest thing in the entire. It's like nobody knows how to shoot an explosion. I guess in the 70s in Britain, because like it's just the camera pans up a little bit and you just hear Wah! And like there's like this little bit of smoke. It's kind of like what's his name? Like, we're going to the White House. Yeah. It was like that.
The scream was very Howard Dean-esque.
It was, thank you, Howard Dean.
Yeah.
But it was so fucking funny. And like
it's not at all convincing.
Oh my god. And then like it's told, oh, I'm gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but unfortunately only the 1 stone.
Oh,
dead.
The doctor wasn't there? Oh, who knew?
Oh no.
Damn it.
That's right, who knew? But anyways, that was probably one of the more ridiculous things in this episode, and I needed to talk about it.
No, I don't blame you. It's very accurate.
I need to tell you how much I was laughing when I saw that.
Yeah, no, I definitely chuckled. I definitely chuckled a lot when you showed me that. I was like, that's not a thing. How is this a thing? Ugh. Okay, so gadgets. I don't know. What do you think? A C?
I'm gonna give it a B- for the briefcase.
All right. I'll give it a B- for the briefcase just because of the laugh I got. Okay, technobabble. Holy shit! This fucking episode is nothing but technobabble. But the problem is, it's nothing but technobabble, but it's all bullshit. It's all wrong.
And
that's the thing. It's just like I mean, like, first of all, the fact that Britain not only had a space program, but had a space program that was leaps and bounds ahead of the U.S. That's fucking no. Not only that, also I find it interesting that they would, instead of landing it in the Atlantic Ocean, they'd land it in Great Britain, on the ground, not in the water.
Have fun with your broken everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, that also irritated me. Their absolute misunderstanding of of radiation, how things are irradiated, etc., is just so irritating. I mean, because again, anybody who was within because in the end, we don't know how they metabolize how they metabolize radiation. So, like, the understanding is that, they are themselves irradiated. So anyone who goes near, because like half of the time, like, you walk in there and it's just like they're either wearing suits until they're not, and they're like, oh, the radiation has gone down quite a bit. Well, quite a bit from what? Because it was 2 million, and 2 million will kill you within seconds. So, like, how much is, like, because, like, what, I think it was, like, 3 point something? 3.4 Röntgen is, like a heavy level chest x-ray.
Yes.
And, like, even then they're like, it's not, like, bad, but you shouldn't, like, it should only be used if you really need it. So, like, even in that scenario, like, if that was just, like, the baseline radiation, like, yeah, they should always be wearing suits, but they never explain. So, I gotta say, technobabble in this episode's a big fat F.
Yes.
Because, again, like, A, nothing's ever explained, as is becoming par for the course with this fucking serials.
And B, nobody understands science at all in this.
Even though they're supposed to be fucking scientists.
Which, you know what, I will say this much, because I think I've mentioned this in a prior episode, but one of the things that sets apart Doctor Who from a lot of other things, and I'll make this quick, I'm not going to get all heady and like, whoa, but scientists wanted to write for Star Trek, writers wanted to write for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because scientists wanted to get the science right. They wanted to get the, if theoretically, if you were to do this, that, the other, then hypothetically speaking, then, X is possible. Whereas Doctor Who is like, hey, you know what? Let's throw something to the wall and see what fucking sticks. And that's the basic nature of Doctor Who.
Yeah,
hey,
but don't you think they could have just, like, once they got that whole plot worked out, it's like, here's how we want it to go, they could have just gone to a fucking scientist and been like, hey, what theoretically would happen if you had somebody who was emitting 2 million Röntgen of radiation? They'd be
they needed the dudes that check the math and science on the whiteboards for the Big Bang Theory or something like that. That's what they needed.
That's what they needed, but they were about 40-ish years too early.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate, but so
Is there anything else to rate?
No, that's all the categories. I would say overall I'd give this episode a C-, bordering on D.
I'll give it a C.
Yeah, because again, nowhere near as bad as Doctor Who and the Silurians, but still not good.
Yeah.
Definitely did not need to be 7 fucking episodes.
Colin, I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Are we gonna get to a point where we get to watch John Pertwee in a serial that's actually good?
So, well, that depends on what you mean by good.
Okay, so no.
Let me rephrase. So the next serial we watch is Inferno, which many state is John Pertwee's best series, his best serial.
Okay.
Which is great, but I've read, like, true story. I went and looked at the IMDb reviews for this episode, right?
For this one or Inferno?
For this one.
Okay.
Right, because I wanted to get an idea of what people were thinking of this. This episode, this serial, does not have a lower rating on IMDb than 6.5 stars out of 10.
Well then.
And I'm like, what the fuck are these people saying that we're not? Because we watch the exact same episodes.
Yeah.
So it's like they're seeing something, and it's not like I don't understand. Like, I love classic Who, but even I'm just like, I can't.
And you know what? I don't know what that is, because I feel like I've kind of been. Have you seen that episode of South Park where Stan starts thinking everything is shit?
Yes.
That's not what I'm going through.
No.
Because I'm not a prepubescent, like, preteen or whatever, who's like, man, everything's like, I take joy in my nerddom and everything like that, but like, there are things that, like, I openly enjoy where I'm looking at it like, this isn't really good. Like, for instance, like stuff like, Book of Boba Fett, freaking recent series of Power Rangers. And me and my partner recently went to go see Barbie in theaters, and like everybody was losing their mind over Barbie, and we're sitting there looking at each other going, why is everybody like so like losing their shit over this? Why is everybody giving this such a high rating? Like, are they not watching the same movie we're watching? And I feel like that's kind of like where you and I are with this, because we're looking at this going, how is this getting such high ratings on IMDb?
Yeah, no, because
Like-
that's the thing. Because again, you're more the new Who guy. I'm more the classic Who guy.
Yes.
And even I'm sitting here watching this, being like, I do not see how anyone is rating this over 5 stars. Like I'm
trying to be objective. I'm trying to be open and fair. I'm not trying to, like, I'm by no means poo-pooing this because, oh, it's old and it doesn't have David Tennant in it and it doesn't have Murray Gold's music, so I hate, like, no. I can appreciate it for what it is.
No, because here's the thing.
I'm okay with that.
As much as I've been like, ooh, John Pertwee wasn't very effective in this episode, doesn't mean I dislike John Pertwee as the Doctor. I think he's great.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say this much. It's like, remember how he like was all butthurt at the end of the last episode?
Yeah.
The last serial where he was like, oh, the Brigadier just obliterated all the Silurians. All he makes is this like catty, underhanded comment. And like he's like,
We should have talked about that at the beginning of the show, I think.
you know, we should have, but honestly, I mean, because that's the thing though. It didn't really do anything because he didn't mention it at all past that.
You're right. So
It's
why
just
should
like,
we?
Why should we?
But like, I did have a note in here that stated something along the lines of like, you know, the Doctor having given this massive speech to Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart's daughter about very much the same kind of thing and trying to prevent that, sure is pretty laissez-faire about like, hey, you know, you just committed genocide against the Silurians. All right, so anyways, what do you need help with? Like that,
right, and it's
like,
just like
what the fuck?
Yeah, when he mentions it to Liz in this serial, he's just like, oh well, you know, this, the Brigadier is he just gonna shoot first, ask questions later? And you're like, yeah, and again, it's just like, well, yeah, he is obviously
He's military.
Yeah, it's like that's his deal, but at the same time, it's not like the Doctor's like, oh, I'm just not going to work with you then, because if you're going to be a fucking asshole, then what's the point of me being here?
Yeah.
But he's not like, oh, well, I'm not going to bother then.
Do you think the Doctor at that point and I'm talking about like because obviously this is a TV show that very often I'll say the same thing when I'm reviewing Power Rangers with the guys over at VFTG.
Uh-huh.
You know, we're looking too much into a show that's aimed at children. And early Doctor Who like this was aimed at children.
Sure.
So am I looking too much into that then? Or would the Doctor, you know, actually have had some kind of moral quandary where he said, you know, yes, the Brigadier just committed genocide. And yes, that's really fucked up. But he's also like my best ally when it comes to relating with the humans and trying to get anything done, trying to be able to penetrate any kind of like...
You know what? Then all they would have had to have done is had a scene, 5 lines of dialogue where he's like, I don't think I can work with the Brigadier anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's telling Liz this. And Liz is like, well, you have to help them. I mean, you have to help them. They're like humanity's first line of defense. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, yeah, like not all alien beings are as, say, benevolent as you, Doctor. So yeah, his methods may not necessarily be as ideal as yours, but he's looking out for our best interests when you're not around.
She could also say something along the line too of like, because you said this with the benevolent thing, but it's also like, you know, the Doctor is so used to going in with nary like a screwdriver and a friend.
Yeah.
But other alien species, like, you come down to planet Earth in a police box and 2 hearts, wanting to help out, whereas these other aliens, there are other aliens out here.
These motherfuckers.
All these other aliens are coming down here, literally opening up their ship with guns pointing at us as they come down.
Yep.
They are literally opening up hostilities the first time they're even meeting us before they talk with us. Because they want to subjugate us. So forgive us if we're going to try and...
That's all I'm saying, though. Like, they just had to have that conversation, and that would have made his acceptance and his continuing to work with the Brigadier makes sense. Because at this point, it just seems like he's like, all right, well, whatever. Not like I actually cared. So, that was the Ambassadors of Death. And tune in next time for the final serial of Series 7, Inferno.
Oh, it's almost over?
Oh yeah, that's right. This first series, well, you say almost over. We've gone through 18 episodes already, Brian.
Dang.
I know, it doesn't seem like we've been through that much, having to watch 2 6+ episode level serials back to back.
Fair enough.
But hey, guess what? The good news is, Brian, this next one, it's also only going to be 7 episodes.
Oh, no.
But this one, again, like I said, this one is universally acclaimed to be his
best?
This one is supposed to be the best of this first series.
Okay.
And a lot of people say that this is the best of Pertwee's run.
All right. Well, looking forward to it then.
So, well, we'll see.
All right.
Well, until next time, I'm Colin.
I'm Brian.
And you've been listening to Impromptu Who.